When you find yourself between here and there, the now and the then, it can feel difficult to embrace life and all that it has to offer, especially when you feel like you haven't arrived yet. Wherever you're at, though, we want to help in that beautiful struggle of transitioning well through aspects of faith and life with The Places Between, a podcast all about transitions. Hi, I'm your host, Wendy. I'm a storyteller and a creative with a passion for adventure, fitness, and faith. What began as a love for travel, experiences, and community turned into helping clients around the country tell their own stories and inviting others to join them. I've always been passionate about people fully living. That means navigating those places between, opening up a safe space to have conversations, and encouraging growth along the journey. So join me as we explore what it's like to transition well on the places between. So this idea for the places between really came from a place of wanting to do life better. I found myself always looking to the future and wanting to be there, but still wrestling with the present and embracing all that life has to offer, even in those spaces and places that I hadn't arrived yet. That got me thinking and dreaming for more. That got me asking all the questions, not just of others, but for myself too. You know, questions like, how do you travel through life? How well do you handle transition? How do you go through the phases of fitness, the ups and the downs of career journeys? Oh, and what about dating to marriage or marriage to divorce? And what about your faith? Isn't that supposed to be about the journey too, rather than the destination? While I haven't fully arrived yet, I'm definitely still figuring some things out. I wanted to invite some others into a safe space of conversation with me where we could explore these questions together. Friends of different journeys, different careers, life and cultural experiences. So, what does it look like? Exploring what it's like to transition well on a podcast all about transitions. I fully believe the places between, also known as the journey of transitions, throughout life don't really have to paralyze us from embracing or being prepared for what's next. And if I'm right, most of us really want to be better versions of ourselves. So this community that I find myself surrounded by, we want to love people and God with every ounce. We also want to enjoy the process of the journey and not get so focused on the destinations of life that we don't fully show up for what God may have in store for us today. When we embrace a life of transitions, knowing we have yet to arrive, we can enjoy the journey and take a friend along too. We can experience more peace and hope. We can navigate transitions with confidence.
Through that, God opened door after door after door of not only satisfying my heart with knowing I just had this peace all of a sudden. And I was like, I don't need anyone to approve anything. Like, I know that I'm enough just because the Lord has said so.
And that pivoted everything and it like downloaded so much truth and revelation of who I was, what I'm doing, and who He is, and what He has been doing in my life. And it just like the next day I was like hungover, but like, whoa, you do. I don't need to fight you anymore. I don't need to fight you like I fought my parents about adoption. I didn't need to have this attachment disorder with God. God's like, there's no need to have that attachment disorder with me.
And walked away from what I had been trying to do forever. And the reason I did that is because I needed to learn how to love God with no strings attached. I needed Jesus to be real and it to be okay if my life was just me and Jesus without the calling, without the dream. I just needed to know how to love Him for Him. And it changed my life.
That's where all of this clicked for me. And He said, I want you to share this message with this generation in a whole new way of I already love them. I've already paid for them. And I just want them to realize that I've done the work. They need to enjoy me and this story, this journey that I can take them on. At that moment, it wasn't that the pain went away, but it was this peace that I can't even explain that changed my entire perspective.
That circumstance is not your forever, right? There's so much more that God can have for you. And you do not have to die to that dream of family.
Waiting well doesn't have to be hard. When we can find encouraging things for this season that get us through to the next season, we can live a life that transitions well. We can transition well with others. And I just want to make a commitment to myself that I'm never going to give up my faith. I absolutely believe that when Jesus talks to the disciples and all this stuff is happening and he asks them, "You're not going to unfollow me too, are you?" And how the disciples are like, "Who else are we going to follow?" And that's kind of how I feel like life can throw some nasty stuff at us. But in the middle of the mess, if we cling on to Jesus, he will get us to the other side.
A big part of it is just continuing in your commitment to be on a faith journey, to play this thing out. And all you can do is be yourself before God and bring your fullest, most integrated self to him. Like, the burden is not on you to prove God real or to prove God right. And I say this with the utmost respect. God willfully, just by sending Jesus alone, is making the statement, hey, the burden of proof is on me. The burden of reality and authenticity, this relationship is mine to authenticate, but it's yours to embrace.
And so, my friend, let's decide today to embrace one another as we learn how to navigate this thing called life. Let's embrace a life of faith and trust. Let's embrace where adventures and travels can take us. And let's embrace our journey of full health. Let's embrace the places between. Are you ready? I hope you'll join me. I'm over here cheering you on, friend. You just finished another episode of the Places Between podcast. If you want to access more, be sure to subscribe or visit theplacesbetween.com to learn more about our guests, episode sponsors, upcoming retreats, and more. Like Stay in the Story, a 25-day devotional all about staying in your story while you wait on your dreams, on God, and on life to come to fruition. And lastly, if you're looking for an online community of people who also want to transition well, then come say hi over on Instagram at The Places Between. As always, thanks for taking time to dive into the places between. Until next time, keep enjoying that journey.